how disappointing is it to see? I mean, just as Jack
Quinn, yeah, Jack.
gonna have an opportunity to really establish himself here for this to happen.
Yeah, it's a bummer. He had an unbelievable goal, another assist. He played through it for 2 periods, which probably is a good sign. As far as we hope that the significance is a range there. You're really waiting to see how significant the injury is over the next few days, and the fact that he played through it. There's hope that it might not be as bad as it could be with that type. But he, like I said, he scored a heck of a goal, and I felt that game was an interesting game, as I mentioned last night. You got to see what our future might look like with goals by Tuck. It was a heck of a goal. Cousins, a beautiful goal. Great play by Olofsson, who's been struggling lately. He made a nice play to set Cousins up. And then who am I missing? Another goal, another young guy. Dahlin. Oh, yeah, Dahlin. Just another highlight for Rasmus. So, at least Jack was in the game and showed us what Jack can do. And nice to see that. And obviously, injuries are part of the game, and it's unfortunate. But he's a young guy. He'll come back out of this even better. Young guys, when they get time out, they don't stop improving. It sounds funny, it sounds odd, but it's much like when he had mono. Everybody's worried about how he's going to come back. Well, he came back even better. They internalize more. They get to step back and soak some things in from a different angle, and it does help them.
So. I know it's your job to be positive and stay positive. You're also a human being.
Mm-hmm.
How do you do it? How do you stay positive through all this?
Paul, I don't know if it's my job to be positive, but I found out in life that things work a lot better when you stick with the positive, stick with things you can do, compete with things that are within your control. You start dwelling, you lose energy, you lose passion. We all know, just obviously beyond that, the real essentials, the physiology and the psychology of it. So, a lot of adversity heaped on us. Of course, when you look at the injuries and you look at how young our team is and how much our team has changed and still searching for an identity against, we play teams in the NHL. There's the top 20 teams have had a team identity, a franchise identity for 4 or 5 years plus. And we're in the process of forming that identity with all these young guys. So you're going to go through ups and downs. You're going to have more anxiety. You're going to have more mistakes. You're going to have greater fatigue because of that. So I think you tactically have to stay positive and upbeat, or you're going to lose energy and you're going to become stagnant and never get in that category of finding your identity. So, and I'll go further into that, Paul, with our game last night. We didn't play. Our identity is speed, pace, and the team we played, their identity is more physicality and more battles. And there were moments in the game when we dictated our identity. Was there, but not enough moments that we could overtake the game. They really overtook the game with their identity, and that's what happens every night in the NHL. It's the team that can, push their identity on the other team, or establish their identity within the game, that usually benefits in the form of win. And it was close last night. There was give and take. You had a heck of a hockey team that you could see their identity, and at moments you could see ours. It just wasn't enough.
Like you were saying with Jack, I guess the plan, given all the injuries and everything, was to give him a long look and just throw him right into the fire.
Yeah, I mean, he based on earning it and based on, he's a guy like other players that could play in the American League. So, you bring him up, as we mentioned, UPL is another perfect example, and you gauge it. How is he? Where's he at in his development? Where's he at in his psyche? And you these guys are going to be really good hockey players. So you want to make sure you're supporting them through the process of all this adversity being heaped on them and pressure. And if Buffalo is the spot for them, and they're going to still be able to chip away at their potential, then we would be inclined to keep them in Buffalo. If not, we have the use of Rochester, which the American Hockey League is exceptional. Our coaching staff down there is great, and that's another great option we have. So we look at it with every guy when they do come up. We're gauging. Okay, is he progressing, developing? Is his confidence there? And then obviously with us, is he helping us win, helping us move toward winning? And so Jack, when we bring him up, we're looking at it that way as well.
You had Peyton on the wing last night. What do you like about him in that spot? And is that something you're going to try maybe experiment with when Casey's back in the lineup now that you have four centers that you like and you trust?
Exactly. I love Peyton. Love him at center. Love what he brings to the rink every day. Energy, passion. He's a very intelligent hockey player. So I want to see all our guys play different positions. From forwards play different forward positions. Obviously, D. We'll probably have Bryson play the right side when he comes back here, and I think you need to do that. You need, if you're way ahead of the game, if guys are comfortable in more spots. And these guys, Peyton's young enough. I think he's played all three spots, even in the NHL already, both wings and center. He prefers center. He's played it more in his career. So, but if it gets late in the game and you're looking to go down to six forwards the last 3-4 minutes, some of your skilled centermen that you mentioned are going to have to shift to the wing. So we kind of have that in mind, and it's all about that progressing toward each one of these guys being more versatile.
The 2 years you played in ECHL, there were 68 guys who had at least 200 penalty minutes. Now I know you lived it. Can you envision that kind of hockey?
I got beat up pretty bad, by the way, John. Yeah, I was never a big guy, as you can see, but that was a fun time. And your question on, I'm sorry.
I know you lived it, but can you even envision that kind of hockey?
No, it's crazy. I mean, when you see a little scrum now, it's, inside all the guys that went through that and lived that stuff, you almost laugh. Like it's. I can remember when I went to the ECHL, I was naive as could be, finished college hockey, and thought you knew. You're a young guy. You think you know everything. You played hockey, you've battled and scrapped, and I get to pro hockey and worked my way down, unfortunately, to the ECHL. And you go through that training camp, and I can remember at the time thinking to myself in the hotel room one afternoon that, wow, the movie Slapshot actually was real, and it was a eye-opening moment that they actually created that movie from pro hockey, and it was just, that's the way it was. I mean, the first game my father came and watched, there was 360 minutes and penalties in one game. And I remember he was real quiet. We went to dinner afterwards, and just him and I. And about partway through dinner, he looks at me, and he wasn't talking much. He says, "Did you actually have fun tonight?" And his perspective was totally different than mine. I actually said, "Yeah, I did have fun," but it was just a different era of hockey. It was lots and lots of grit. I was glad I had Jason on my team. That was about as tough, pound for pound, about as tough as they come. So, yeah.
Is there any pinpoint things, milestones through the years where you can say where it transitioned from that to what we've got today?
The concussions, the obstruction, the push by some of the most talented players in the early 2000s. I remember my first year in the ECHL, there were 3 lawsuits against teams. And the lawsuits were, the teams were advocating, violence and physicality, and I had to give a deposition for one. I remember that, watching an incident right in front of me that couldn't believe happened. And so I think, there was a real push in the late 90s through the early 2000s to really clean up the game, and then the league took a lot of initiative to start penalizing it and phase a lot of the unnecessary stuff out of the game. So I think the game is in an amazing place, and I think it was the NHL was the leader in doing it, because you're talking history. It was historic. I mean, this was decade after decade after decade, and it wasn't until the top, the guys running our league said, "Hey, we can do something about this," and it is a great game. It's a great game. It's gotten better every day since they started to work consciously to stick to hockey. So, but I'd say early 2000s, you saw changes.
It's unbelievable to read some of the stories about the WHA and the stuff that used to go on in that league.
Hard. It's when you read it and you hear stories, it's hard to believe that it was real, because there were some tough people, which the Buffalo fans have seen many of them here. I mean, some tough guys. You wonder, wow, do you really like getting punched in the head? I mean, it didn't bother some guys. They actually looked like they enjoyed it. So.
hear about the Norsemen?
No.
They played in North Tonawanda. It was like,
Oh.
like the AHL of the WHA.
Oh, really?
And the police would have to show it.
I think I think that was a slap shot league.
Yeah.
Crazy.
No, it's, I think there still are being parts of men's leagues in Canada that are still crazy that you shake your head at. But it was, in my 2 years in that league in the ECHL, it was maybe the third and fourth year of the league or second and third year of the league, and they hadn't cleaned that up. And they were selling tickets because of because of all the, aggressive play. And, when you reflect on it, it was, like I said, I was young enough to not know all the, but it was crazy times.
You did have a great big positive practice today. Craig Anderson's back. You had to be happy to see him. He hasn't practiced with the team so long. What kind of practice routine is he going to have to go through now to ramp up?
It is he's. I mean, we all know he's such a pro and a veteran, and he knows what he needs. He knows how he feels with the issue he's dealing with, and he knows what it's going to take to get back to the level of his personal standard. It is incredible when you see him out on the ice because he has a presence in the net. I mean, he even looks, he looks like a slight guy walking around here, inconspicuous. But when he puts that gear on and how he stands and how he holds posture, he just has a presence in the net. I mean, you see that he's been a #1 goalie in the NHL. So that is really nice to see that he's back doing what he wants to do. I mean, obviously the age he's at, he's got an extreme passion for it. But very nice to see him out there.
So it's still up in the air how long it might take him to
It is. It's all on him at this point. He works with the medical team, and he's gauging how he feels day to day. So, I as a coach with a guy like that, if he's 20 years old, you're really in constant communication. With even probably with the doctors at that point, if as a coach and trying to help the guy. But Craig knows. I mean, he's been in this, and he knows what's going to be expected of him as a #1 goalie to come back into this league. And there's nothing I can tell him other than support him, which we all do around here. And if he's ready to go, he's earned that net, and he'll be back in that net.
Does it give you a little, like, I know it's a Friday practice in January between games, but just having him out there for 30 minutes, does that give the guys a lift and so forth?
You know what I got out of that question, Bill, was it's Friday. I didn't realize it was Friday. Yeah, so thanks for that. I know traffic won't be bad tomorrow when I come to the rink, which is good, and Sunday there'll be no traffic, so I'm looking forward to the next couple of days. No, I didn't even hear you. I honestly didn't even hear you. So with Craig.
I know it's just a mid-season practice, but just for 30 minutes, but just having him on the ice, does that give the guys a lift?
It does. It does. Anytime you have it. Mitzi was out there today, and that was Mitzi's first practice in full integration with the team too. So both of those guys, there was lots of talk and banter because they were out there, of them being out there, and that's energy you like, especially after a night like last night, and where the season wears on. I equate it to this. You go to training camp and everybody's fresh. Nobody's had an injury. Everybody's trained for 3-4 months in the off season, and everybody can overachieve. You get into January and February, you see, the guy that looked great in training camp because he was well rested may not look very great in January and February. And now it's your bumps and bruises and how much you love the game and your character are really, really challenged. And, again, you lose a game like last night, you can come in here with your head down. And I think Craig and Mitzi are guys that endure the wear and tear of a season and the grind. Obviously, they're fighting injuries, and bring that relentlessness to them. And we have plenty of guys like that. That's why I'm confident in our future, because we have guys that just grind it out and don't get taken down notches and they battle through the wear and tear. But it is nice having fresh guys in there like that.
You got to be careful with Casey, because Kevin was just saying, he goes, Tuesday's probably a target day.
Mm-hmm.
But he said, knowing Casey, he's going to be knocking on his front door today asking to play tomorrow.
Casey, yeah.
Kind of be careful with him.
Absolutely. Because Casey is such a competitor, and he's fearless, and that we love. So we have to watch out for him and make sure we don't. He needs some practice time. I'm not comfortable putting him in tomorrow. He hasn't had enough practice to me. I was just watching him today, but he will probably be barking at me to be in that lineup tomorrow. And that's where you've got to gauge. Compared Craig Anderson. He's been through it 20 years. He knows ins and outs of it. Casey's hungry as can be, and he feels he's not up to his conditioning level yet, but he still wants to play. And so we're gauging when is the right time to put him in that spot. We don't want to put him in a tough spot.
All right. Thanks, folks.
Thanks, Don.